Hey Louis, hope all is well. Um, you had two very different experiences getting ready for the season last year in your first season as manager, a normal spring training cut short, and then summer camp, which was obviously at the beginning of the league trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. As you look forward to this spring and the protocols that are in place, how close to normal will this spring look, and I guess what differences will there be from years past based on what you guys have to do to keep everybody safe?
Well, first of all, hey Steve, doing well here. Excited with the first day. Watching the guys out there getting after it, looking at some sides. I hope your family's well as well. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Well, yeah, it's still challenging at this point. I mean, we've had challenges in the last year round. I know there's been some, I want to say, disruptance in some of the logistics we put together to do each camp. I mean, we know the first one last year in February, and then when we had the start of the pandemic and the shutdown, and then 2.0, like you said. Right now, it's challenging. It's as challenging. We're trying keep everyone healthy entering camp, keep everyone healthy throughout camp, as well as we're preparing to compete out there. I mean, it is challenging getting in right now. I mean, just to go through a process, couple of days where you're quarantining before you're actually in camp. I mean, how late everything got set up with the manual and to get the guys here to San Lucie. So, right now we're having challenges. So we're staying open-minded. That was one of our goals here, just to kind of like be prepared, but at the same time react in the best kind of way, so we can get the guys prepared. We can keep them healthy, the first thing once again, and then we can prepare them as well to compete.
Obviously things can still change, and you guys can continue to add more players. But with this pitching staff in general, as it's set up right now, do you have a clear 1 to 5, or the back end do you look at as more of an open competition?
Well, we're going to use the word depth again. I mean, there's several guys here that started games before. There's a lot of strategy that we can talk about. I mean, we know how openers are being used. I mean, we'll be open-minded about that. We can talk, one of the candidates too to potentially be a starter. We know that we lost in the last week. It was Seth, but we have guys here. With Jake always leading our staff. Along with a lot and other guys that are going to be part of that rotation. You have Kookie, we have Stroman, Luke Casey that we acquired, great acquisition, and Peterson, the great year he had last year. In camp, we have a Jared Akoff. We have a Kilome that's a depth guy. Sean Reed Foley that's been a starter before. We have a lot of guys that can be that potential depth starters for us, and they can work to be part of a rotation. But there's different strategies as we go on a day-to-day basis. I know it's been talked before that there's never too much pitching, and I know that we've been staying active this offseason, and I think we're doing it on a daily basis from a front office standpoint. But there's a lot of depth, Steve. There is.
Thanks.
Next question from Anthony DeComo.
Hey, Louis. Once again, as we stand here with the roster as it is today, do you consider Dom Smith your starting left fielder? And if so, how comfortable are you with him defensively and left at this point?
Hey, Anthony, great seeing you. Well, Dom's versatility has always been important to us. I mean, we talk about him playing first, playing left. That's something that we're looking at to maintain it. That's something that's not so much on Pete Alonso's side right now. We can say, Pete has been strictly a first baseman. So we see him as of now today, playing more left field than he will at first base. DH is not in place as of now, so we're working kind of like to give him time there during this spring. That's the plan today. That can always change, but he'll play his first base too. I mean, we have so many guys in our roster too that can move around and play infield and outfield, like VR, same JD McNeil. You guys seen him in left. Nimo, he can go to left. We have Almora, Pilar, and we have different guys that we can foresee in the left field, center field, first base situation going into camp. Also Jose Martinez may be another case first left field there. So, but, Dum's going to get a share of time there in left field. And we're comfortable with his defense. Dum's got a good feel. He plays hard. He's always trying to get better out there. And with the addition of Tony Carrasco, our new outfield base running coach, I know he's going to be seeing some new things there as well to keep developing his skills out there in outfield.
Good. Next up, Bruce Beck, your line is open.
Hey, Louis, great to see you virtually even. Are you feeling pressure with a roster that has improved and with expectations that are significantly higher than they were a year ago?
Hey, Bruce, nice seeing you too. Well, and you know what? It's let's say it's a good kind of pressure. Let's call it. I don't know if that's a line there, but because there's multiple guys that can play multiple positions. So and in a camp like this, you want to give everybody a chance in the positions that they can come in and play, and they can be an upgrade for us defensively, or in a balance defensively, offensively when you're assembling a lineup. So I think we've done a tremendous job just to go and acquire different guys that can play center, guys that can at the same time play in the infield. We can start with you can see or think of an offensive lineup that can be substituted by a defensive lineup at one point in the game. You can start a defensive lineup as well and have your pinch hitters ready. So there's different strategies to the depth that we have in camp right now. So very excited to see everyone participating in camp and playing those multiple positions that they can play.
All right. Tina Cervasio, you're up next.
Here we go. Hi, Luis. Good to see you. I know there haven't been a ton of workouts yet, and you're still awaiting a lot of the position players. But overall, as players are checking in and reporting to camp, is there anything different about the atmosphere under new owner Steve Cohen? Do you sense any of that at all yet? Have there been discussions like that as guys have been reporting?
Hi, Tina. Great seeing you again, too. I mean, you feel the energy from the guys as far as like talking about the passion that our new owners have shown in the offseason. He's connected with me during the offseason as well, and his passion for the team is unbelievable. He's connected with a lot of the guys as well. But showing up to camp today was the first day out there on the field, and everyone was, even though with all the protocols and everything that we have to go through to come in. And this year, I'm sure you guys are aware the protocols are a little bit more strict. Even going through it, the guys were like little kids out on the field, pitchers and catchers. They were having fun. They were throwing their sides. They were looking for feedback. So you can feel that energy, kind of like being passed onto the field. So it's just great to see the guys, feel that from our owner and then translate it into spring training.
Next up, Tim Healy, your line is open.
Hi, Luis. You mentioned in the case of Dom and some of the others that how important versatility is. This spring, do you have anybody learning any new positions or getting time at a spot where they don't usually play?
Well, not right now. We've it's a good question, Tim, and great seeing you, by the way.
Likewise.
Like the hair.
Thank you.
Hey, it's so. We talked about catchers that play first base in the past. Just looking at their history, we are going to have some conversations just to some emergency case or guys that played in positions, in their history. Like we've looked at that, but it's nothing that we've definitely like put down on paper and said, okay, we're going to go with this. But the guys that have the versatility recently at the big league level or, even though coming up in a minor league system, we're going to see the similar positions they've played and they've been familiar with. We talked about BR, for example. He's played second, he's played short, he's played in center. And the one position he hasn't played, I think, in a couple of years is third base. And, we're going to talk about him also getting some time there at third and maybe in the other outfield positions. So I think he hasn't played third since 2016 or so. So, he's probably not recent pass, but, he's played there before and he's played on the left side on the infield. So we may see him just taking time there as well so we can have more and more versatility with the guys.
Sure. And then aside from Syndergaard, who of course is still rehabbing, do you have anybody coming into camp with an injury and they're behind schedule? Well,
the intake process still taking place. And I think I said at the beginning of the call that, it's been some disruptions with the traveling and how late things were. There's everybody reported, by the way, everybody reported. There's some guys that just didn't get to the field because of the intake process. They're just not fully out of it. But, it's right now, it's Noah threw a side. He looked really good. We're still on schedule with him and what we said in the past. Giselman threw and he was really good. He's fine. He's good to go. But if there's anything, we'll give you an update when we're fully in camp.
Next up, Mike Puma, your line is open.
Hey, Louie. Wondering, coming into camp here, is there one area of the team you'll look at? I don't know whether it's the rotation, the bullpen. You look at it and kind of identify it as the area of most concern right now?
Well, hey, Mike. Great seeing you too. We want to prepare, period, because we know with the protocols, we know we can have some blockages sometimes, with how you can prepare as a team in camp. So we want to prepare, period. But if you want to talk about some areas that hurt us in the past, even though we have some new personnel injected to the team, our defense got to get better. And we got to be a better defensive team this year. That's one of our main things to work on during the spring. That's one. And there's no ranking, by the way. I'm just saying one because this is the first one I'm telling you. And controlling the running game for the pitchers is very important. That's something that we haven't done really well in the past 3 years. We're facing a tough division, a very fast division, and we want to make sure that we minimize that. We have a new catcher, and we're going to encourage our pitcher to be better at that. And our base running. I thought we were poor running the bases last year. We got on base, we hit, but we didn't maximize our scoring chances, by being a better base running team. So those three I can tell you right now off the top of my head. But we want to prepare the team at its best in all area. Once we depart St. Lucie.
And how much are you holding out hope for the DH, given that it seems that it would solve problems on a couple of fronts potentially?
Well, we're right now. There's no DH. We had a talk with our pitchers today about bunting and different things, and it's been said before, like. We would like to have the DH. We said it, I think, earlier in the offseason. We've talked about that. We have guys that will benefit from it, and they probably get more playing time at the time because we have so much depth in our position player roster right now. But being where it is right now, we just got to get ready at our best. To work and have those guys that were potentially DH be on the field and play their best position or get better in other positions.
Oops, sorry, gents. Next up is Tim Britton.
Hey, Louie, good to see you. Last year, you mentioned a couple times managing with a little bit more urgency because it was a 60-game season, 60-game schedule. How differently might you manage things like playing time, like shifting your batting order around this year with the full 162 to play with?
Hey, Tim. Great seeing you, too. It's going to be a different approach. I mean, knowing that it will be more so like a marathon type of season once again. And giving the guys rest. Also with the versatility we have, depth. We have a lot of depth in the infield, keeping our guys fresh. I'm meaning fresh as of like playing, active. Fresh that they're in game, they're watching pitches, they're in action, they're ready to come in. That it'll be that type of approach. I mean, that's what I have in mind, and along with the staff in different conversations that we had, the guys, they understand kind of like how those mechanics work once we do it a couple times, and once we explain it, everyone's ready to come where they usually come, and the different lineups that you can use in a season with the guys that we have, the personnel that we have, they will also start to understand it. So it's definitely a little different. We know how last year was, and the value of one game. I mean, we always talked about that entire season is what you're saying, and the players understood that. So we learned a lot. We're excited. Our first day was very successful, just watching the guys out there having fun. And we had great weather here for it, and did see some live arms that we didn't see at Bullpen for a while, but that was great. It was great to be out there too.
And then, how different was the offseason for you? First, having kind of a full offseason as manager, and then second, having to do a lot of your communication with the coaching staff kind of virtually rather than in person.
Well, you know what? It was, last year, I think it was late in the 20s or mid-January 20 that I came onto the position to be a manager. I mean, we already met and did different things to get spring training settled. There was just a couple of additions when I came at the helm. But this off season, majority of the staff from last year, we stayed in touch throughout the whole time. Then Davey Jaws came onto the staff in December. We added Tony Tarasco later, and that's when we started formally having those meetings that you're saying. But they were effective. I mean, in the past we've flown from our different locations. We met in New York for a week. So to be honest, it was like more convenient to do this. Like we can do this like from one moment to another and have the Zoom call, and we'll develop some great ideas. I mean, I'm fortunate to have this, a good staff here and know this system of communication, and we develop great things. We put a potential spring training. So for for the manual, we modeled last year's manual, but getting the new manual with some of the additions, we were able to graduate it where we want it. And so, it was a great advantage to have the full off season, just to prepare things, be more prepared. I learned a lot this off season, just expanding, reading, searching for advice, looking at games. I watched a lot of Winter Bowl games this off season, and just looking at baseball games from that angle. It's just, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back, and I'm fortunate to have a really good staff as well with me.
Veronica Contreras, your line is open.
Hola Luis, ¿cómo estás? Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, Verónica. Hola.
Bueno, antes que nada, platícame cómo fue este primer día con lanzadores y receptores y qué es lo que estás más ansioso ya de que comience esta nueva temporada.
Bueno, fue un gran primer día, sí lo tengo que catalogar. Todo se hizo al punto, estábamos a tiempo, o sea, un gran trabajo de nuestro bench coach, Dave Jaws, que es el maestro que orquestó el campo de entrenamiento completo. Y esta fase donde están los pitchers y los catchers, él lo hizo todo tirando los bullpenes, los catchers preparándose defensivamente y los pitchers que no estaban tirando bullpen también preparándose defensivamente y en otras cosas. Así que un gran trabajo armando eso, y luego el resto de los coaches, del staff, mantuvieron una muy buena energía. Esperamos crear la consistencia con eso. Pero lo que más yo espero ver es los juegos. O sea, me hace mucha falta ver los muchachos compitiendo allá afuera. Y a pesar de que sean juegos de campo de entrenamiento, nosotros vamos a competir desde ahí. Nosotros vamos a practicar en ese nivel de competencia que vamos a tener durante la temporada. No es una división fácil y nosotros queremos sentir ese calor desde temprano con los entrenamientos. Así que eso es lo que estoy esperando ya, que los muchachos lleguen a esa etapa.
Good.
Bueno,
Thank
gracias
you.
y suerte.
No, go ahead, Veronica. Did you have a follow-up? I'm sorry.
No, I just said thank you and good luck.
Good. Louis, would you mind giving a summary of that answer in English, please?
Yeah, sure. So it's talking about the first day here in camp with the pitchers and catchers. I want to give credit to Dave Giles putting together. He's the maestro of the schedules for spring training. He did a great job. I think in sync with the rest of our staff, Brian Schneider, Tony Tarasco, Di Sarcina, Jeremy Hefner, rest of the pitching coaches that we have, Chili, Tom Slater, like they put this together, and first day went really, really, really well. I mean, we're gonna have similar days like this. Side days with rotations for pitchers, work defensively, and their catchers working on their defense and also hitting today. It was a very good day. Everyone's happy. They want to come back to the same again. We're gonna be doing it for 5 days, like I said. Now, the part that I'm looking the most forward to get to is the games, and that was that's a question that Veronica asked me about which part I wanted to get to in spring training, and that's it. I want to see the guys competing. I can't wait, and it's we're gonna have we're in a very competitive division. I think that's no secret, and we want to start competing since spring training and get to know each other better. That's what spring training is all about, and even part of the regular season is good to get to know each other as a team. What type of a team we have? Are we fast? Do we hit for power? Can we play the defense like we should be playing, and all those things? And that's how the guys get in sync. And so I can't wait for us to get into competition and watch ourselves on the field, playing against the other squads in spring.
Thank you, Louis. Next up is Justin Toscano.
Hey, Louis, good to see you again. We've heard a lot about the overhauls in your research and development and player development programs. I'm wondering if you've been able to see positive changes from that, even though it's still early on.
Hey, Justin. Well, yeah, there are changes, and you can notice them. They won. We've talked a couple times on the phone. They've done a lot of Zooms with our coaches too, kind of like giving them the expectations of how things are going to be, from that standpoint. I think the addition of Ben Sosmer as our director of R&D, it's just been great. I had a pleasant conversation with him about a week or so ago, and we were talking about different things that we're gonna implement, and we're expanding in that area. You're already noticing with some of the plans that they're already developing. So for our all of our coaches, I mean, as you guys know, we don't have a quality control anymore, and we feel pretty comfortable that our analysts and our strategists that we're going to have as well are going to be talking to our coaches. And right now, the digestion of the information is clearer and clearer. Our coaches have learned a lot also about the usage of systems and some of the formulas out there. So there's a straight line of communication, and now that we have expanded, we have more manpower. It's you can see it already. You can see it the working collaboration.
And last year, you guys kind of were hit with some injuries and some unlucky circumstances with your pitching staff specifically. Do you feel like this year's pitching staff is better equipped to handle those sorts of things if they arise?
Well, yeah, we already had some challenges. Like I mentioned the Lugo. Not saying that we were committed yet that he was going to be a starter. But last year we did have the challenges. Losing Noah, and then before the season started, when we lost Stroman too, when he opted out. So the addition of Carrasco, I think it's a great addition. The addition of Lucchesi, is giving us there like more depth, and in our starter rotation, guys we're experienced. Carrasco more than Lucchesi, but guys that can definitely strengthen our starting rotation. So there's things that happen that are your control, of course. I can't tell you that I have a feel if it's going to happen or not, but you feel pretty good about how those guys look. When you see the roster, when you see it in paper, even though we lost Lugo. So we'll see how those guys keep building up in spring training, and like I said, there's the rest of guys that are in depth for the starters. And I can't wait to watch him pitching out there so we can have a visual of, what can happen and we can make some decisions.
Next up is Disha Thozar.
Hey, Louis, good to see you again. We've spoken to Zach Scott and Sandy about potential contract extensions for Lindor and Conforto. But just kind of from your perspective, what's your read on those discussions and how much would you like those guys to stay on the Mets long term?
Hey, Disha, great seeing you. I'm not in those conversations. I have talked to both of them, and I mean those two guys are two of our leaders. I mean, we have several leaders here, and even though Lindor hasn't been in the facility yet, he should be here in a few days when the position players report. He's already portraying as a leader. I mean, the conversations that we had, they've been off the chart about how we're going to go about it and different things. Michael, I'm in touch with him too, and all they talk about is the team in baseball. You talk about those two. It'll be great that they're here for years. I think our fan base will that always supports every Met player. Will also be happy with those two guys being extended, and our team as well will feed off of it. I mean, those are two of our leaders. Their presence is strong in the clubhouse. Their presence is strong out on the field. But my conversations with them, they have been strictly baseball in the offseason.
Right. And then just because this is our first time talking to you since the Porter firing and the allegations against Mickey, what do you think the Mets can do a better job of to make sure situations for women like that become less normal?
Well, I think, we've released statements on situations like that, but under a new ownership and, in the addition of Sandy as well there, we'd set new expectations, and there's also new avenues, added to it, to report cases like this. So, it's been disappointing. I'm sorry to see it from afar when you get to these reports, to this news, and upsetting. But going back to the statement, it's they've handled it like that, and I think it's been the right thing. It's just those misconducts. I mean, they're just unacceptable. We should have a safe environment, to work, safe workplace, and everyone should feel safe around here.
Thanks, Louis.
Next up is Joel Sherman. Your line's open.
Luis, your time with the Mets greatly mirrors Ryan Ellis's time, both of you in the minor leagues. I wonder if you could tell us how well you knew him. Did you ever see any of the kind of behavior that was discussed in the Athletic story today? And did you have anything to do with a significant amount to do with his promotion to the Major League staff last year after Chile was unable to be with you?
Okay, there's like two questions there. You're gonna have to remind me the last.
Yeah, I didn't mean
to. No, I'll
get cut off here, so I wanted to get him.
I'll answer the first one. So, I'm aware of the story that came out this morning. My relationship with Ryan, knowing him for years here in the Mets organization, has been strictly baseball, and that's what we had in as far as conversation. And the last question you asked, Joel, was about him coming to the big league staff last year.
Yeah, your influence on bringing him to the staff last year.
We've last year we lost Chili Davis, which was a big loss for us not to have him present during Camp 2.0 or the regular season, the 60-game season. And the next guy to come into play is our hitting coordinator, and that was Ryan Ellis' position at the time. So he was the next guy up, and the guy that knew our players coming into camp. So it was the right move for us to do to get him to come with us and work with Tom Slater during the season.
if I just follow, is just so I know for the record here, you were around him to some degree over the last 10, 15 years, whatever it was. Did you ever see behavior that you found unacceptable from him?
No, I didn't.
And just one other thing, you earlier thing you said the majority of the staff stayed in touch the whole time. Was he part of that for most of the offseason? And if so, when did he stop being part of that?
No, Ryan wasn't a part of that. It was major league staff. And going back to one of the answers I just gave you, like he came onto the staff last year to be a sub, basically presence for Chili Davis. So the contact was with Chili Davis and Tom Slater throughout the offseason when we were talking about staff meetings. So that's how we worked as a staff when we started gathering.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Next up is Natalie Alonso.
Saludos, Luis. Tomando en cuenta el nivel de competencia en la división este año, ¿qué es lo que más te entusiasma del equipo que tienes ahora mismo? Y si tuvieras que empezar la temporada con el roster que tienes en estos momentos, ¿cuán confiado te sentirías?
Bueno, Natalie, mucho gusto verte, por cierto. ¿Qué te digo? No va a ser fácil. La división completa está equipada. Nosotros tenemos un equipo que tiene bastante profundidad. Eso me gusta muchísimo, que hay muchos muchachos que pueden jugar diferentes posiciones y pueden mantener el line-up fuerte. Eso es un gran trabajo que ha hecho nuestro grupo de liderazgo, nuestra oficina, con esas adquisiciones que hemos hecho de firma y de cambio. Pienso que como el catcher McCann ahora, que lo hemos añadido, también nos puede ayudar bastante. Él tuvo una gran presencia hoy en su primer día con los pitchers, conectándose con ellos, agarrando algunos de los sides. Las adiciones que hemos hecho con los abridores, de añadir a Cookie, añadir a Trevor May, Aaron Loop, Luke Casey, definitivamente nos fortalece bastante comparado con como nosotros estábamos el año pasado compitiendo en la temporada de 60 partidos. Me siento muy bien, siento que el equipo está equipado. Lo más importante ahora mismo es mantenerlo saludable, porque ya perdimos a uno con temas de salud, con una, vamos a llamarle pequeña cirugía, con todo el respeto de la cirugía que le hicieron. Si Dios lo permite, lo tenemos vamos a decir que en 12 semanas. Ese es el timeline que se piensa. Pero no va a ser fácil. Nosotros tenemos que prepararnos en este entrenamiento y salir en la temporada regular a competir en el día a día con todo y lo bien que nos sentimos con el equipo que tenemos.
Good. And Louis, if you wouldn't mind sure. Providing a summary inning.
Well, yeah, we're talking about our team, how comfortable we are with our roster competing against our division this season, and I said I feel really good about what we have on roster. I mean, we have a lot of versatility, a lot of depth, guys that can play multiple positions, and we can have a very good offensive lineup as well, and upgrade our defense. So that, along with our pitching staff, a new catcher that's shown really good energy today on day one, pitchers and catchers workout, we can definitely have a good combination. We added Cookie Carrasco, Luke Casey, Trevor May, Aaron Loop, Jacob Barnes, by the way, who I missed telling Natalie just now. We added some arms to our bullpen and to our rotation that have some experience. So we feel pretty good about our team, but we know, and I've said it a couple times in this call, that this division is a tough division. And we're going to have to take it, prepare our best. First, stay healthy. We already lost an important pitcher in our roster that could be an asset both ways, as a starter or as a reliever. So, we got to get out of here, stay through and get out of here healthy so we can compete at our best facing our rivals in our division.
Thank you. Eddie Coleman, your line is open.
All right. Thank you, Harold. Happy New Year, in case I missed it, Louis. Good to see you. Was wondering if J.D. Davis is your everyday third baseman, or whether you look at that position as more mobile, and it might depend on who you're facing that night, or who your pitcher is.
Hey, Ed, great seeing you.
Good to see you too.
Well, it's just really tough right now to commit to any role. Like I got to stick with our versatility. JD is a guy that's played left too, and we're thinking of that. He improved a lot at third base. We may see him probably playing more at third base, than in left field. But we want to keep that versatility always open. Multiple guys are going to play multiple positions. That's where we stand right now, and that's where our roster is. I mean, you guys seen acquisitions and of guys that can play a little third. I mentioned about BR. Watching BR probably play third throughout spring training. McNeil also is going to play second. He's going to play third. He can play left field. So there's guys that move. So that's why I can't say that JD or anyone like that is going to be our everyday player at a position. Guys that have that versatility, they're going to move around. If we're talking about Pete Alonso, he's going to play first base. You talk about Lindor, he's going to play shortstop because that's the position that they uniquely played in the past. We're going to stick to that. But the guys that play multiple positions, we're going to try to keep that versatility high for different strategies to win games.
Thanks.
Jake Seiner, your line is open.
Hey, Louis. I'm piggybacking a little bit on what Joel was asking before. You mentioned that you knew Ryan pretty much exclusively in a baseball level, as a baseball relationship, and didn't know him any deeper, and so hadn't seen any of this other behavior. I'm just curious what your confidence level is right now that there aren't other people on your staff in sort of your circles with the Mets that might be creating an environment where women might not feel comfortable professionally right now.
Okay. Hey, Jake. Well, right now it's like I said, it's been upsetting to hear the news. It's been disappointing to hear the news, but my confidence right now it's working under the new ownership, and I know they released the organization released a statement earlier, but our new ownership has definitely set a new set of expectations. They put out, and there's also new avenues of reporting these cases. So I'm pretty confident that this type of behavior is something that is just going to be unacceptable in this organization, and I'll just leave it to that.
Good. Next up is Otis Livingston.
Unmute. Okay, there we go. Welcome back, Luis. Can you put into words what this last year has been? You took over when Carlos Beltran was let go soon before spring training. You went through the pandemic, off-season new ownership, and there was a question whether you would be back or not. What has this year been like for you personally?
Hey, Otis. Well, it's been a year of growth. I think, you said it there. You said a summary of things that have happened in the course of a year, and it's been a year of growth. I mean, I think every challenge in life just makes us grow. Mature more, have perspective. Be more prepared, if you want to call it that, for upcoming repeated situations or something. But there are challenges that definitely make you better and have you prepare better. So that's the way I seen it. You just got to embrace it. There's some things that come your way and happen, and there's no other way that facing them, create opportunities of learning and help others throughout it. But I got in that questions a lot of time, and that's just how I can look back and see it. I mean, I've grown a lot in a year, as a man, as a manager, and I stand here today, and I'm looking forward for the next one. Like, that's kind of like the approach, that's just being ready to stay on your toes.
All right. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question from Enrique Rojas.
Hola Luis, saludos.
¿Qué hay, Enrique? ¿Cómo estás? Mucho gusto.
Todo bien. Luis, generalmente uno sueña con tener un carro de lujo. Uno sueña con tener un Ferrari. Pero uno ha pasado tanto tiempo usando un carro más común y más barato que cuando llega ese carro quizás tiene miedo incluso de manejarlo. ¿Cómo tú te sientes frente a la perspectiva de manejar en tu segundo año a uno de los mejores equipos de grandes ligas? La mentalidad de adaptarte no solamente a que tiene el chance de seguir siendo el manager de los Mex, sino que estás recibiendo un equipo con expectativas para ganar.
Bueno, Enrique, yo estoy muy emocionado de estar de vuelta. Yo le he dicho varias veces. Sabemos que en la temporada muerta también tuvimos alguna inconveniente, ¿no? Sabiendo si íbamos a volver, vamos a decir, esperando que ya se confirmara eso. Así que por eso estoy muy emocionado de estar de vuelta. Eso es primero que todo. Sí estoy de acuerdo, nosotros tenemos un gran equipo. Que lo hemos ido mejorando, vamos a decirle, añadiéndole piezas que nos dan bastante profundidad para jugar diferentes posiciones, para mejorar nuestra defensa, que fue uno de nuestros talones de Aquiles el año pasado. Me gusta todavía cómo está nuestra ofensiva, creo que eso es algo que se mantiene. Mejoramos, vamos a decir, defensivamente el receptor y también hemos añadido unos pitchers abridores. Así que, sí, como tú dices, es un equipo que se espera que sea contendor en esta temporada, pero nunca quitándole el crédito a la división con la que nos vamos a enfrentar, una gran división. Y nosotros sabemos como equipo que eso está ahí. Entonces, nuestro trabajo ahora mismo es prepararnos lo mejor y estamos en el lugar correcto. Estamos en los campos de entrenamiento, gracias a Dios, vamos a decir, sanos a través de procesos de salud para saber que todos estamos sanos. Y lo que tenemos que hacer es prepararnos a lo mejor y empezar esa competencia, como le respondí ahorita a Natalie, empezar esa competencia de temprano, porque cuando empiece la temporada no va a ser una tarea fácil como solamente decir, este equipo va a ser campeón, este equipo que va a quedar primero en la división. Eso todavía toma mucho de proceso para que pase. Así que nosotros sabemos que tenemos una tarea difícil y eso es lo que tenemos que hacer, combinarnos como equipo.
Thanks, Louis, for a quick English summary, if you will.
Okay, that was a long answer, so I'll give my best. So yeah, we talked about the expectations about our team this year. You know how it's been upgraded with the additions that we have, both you know, from a position player standpoint and a pitching standpoint. So, you know, we feel really good. You know, feel really good about it. I'm very excited to be back as the manager. You know, first of all, I said in this call earlier that I have a great staff that's working in collaboration with me. They're doing a good job. They're helping me out greatly in the off season, and now, you know, first day of camp. There's a good energy out there and good rhythm getting through the drills that we put together. So we feel pretty good. But there's just a lot to do still. You know, thank God we're through the intake, I want to say, with this group. We're looking to do the same when the position players arrive. But, you know, keeping the guys healthy and then preparing to compete from early in spring training is what our task is right now. We're at the right place. We're in spring training and watching out for ourselves, making sure that we're healthy through it, and leaving spring training is our goal right now. Once we get to the season, we know that this task is not going to be easy. I mean, we can talk about, you know, we're a contender. We can talk about World Series. We can talk about, but we need to do stuff. I mean, you know, knowing now and knowing that or saying that is not doing that. And, you know, we need to go through a process, and we know it's going to be tough. You know, we're against a tough division, the rest of the teams in the league. So that's what we got to do. We got to prepare every day and sync our team, combine our team.
Thank you. Next up, Gary Cohen, your line is open.
Hi, Louis. How you doing?
Hey, Gary. Nice seeing you.
Good to see you. this is a question that really is going to be asked of every team. With the short season last year, none of your starting pitchers threw as many as 70 innings. So how is that going to affect the limits on them this year? And does that make depth in the rotation beyond your 5 even more important than normal?
Yeah, we still haven't committed to a plan there, to go to a number that I can share here. We like our depth there. Right now we have some names there that we're looking forward to see in action. I know we lost one of our potential starters, and even though, like I said in the scope, we didn't commit either way whether he was going to be a reliever or a starter, but we'll get back Lugo at that point, and then we'll probably have a plan getting closer to it. But in the meantime, yes, they did have a shorter season, but once we get to a point of ramping up and getting into the regular season, I know the pitching coach and the pitching core, as I call them, the rest of the pitching coaches that we have on our staff are gonna start talking about what's happening and how the season is developing. But right now, it's just that's something that as a number, even though thinking about last season, we're not talking or counting on.
Good. Raul Ramos, your line is open.
Hi, Luis. So last year, unfortunately, the Mets lost Cano. Your central line improved a lot. You gained an excellent catcher, great center fielder, probably the best shortstop in MLB. And you're going to be switching players at second base. How do you feel your central line is compared to the rest of the other teams? And how do you feel about it?
Well, yeah, we've improved. You could say there. Lindor is one of the best defensive shortstop in the game. We have multiple guys that can play second. Robinson. You mentioned Robinson. Robinson, is secure hands all the time. But the range sometimes can be a little limited when you compare it to some other guys that can play second, and that's just the truth. And so we were going to have maybe a little bit more range there, and we've acquired a few guys that can play center, along with Brandon Nimo too, that plays center. So we're looking forward in this spring to see guys working in different positions and seeing different central lines too, even though we're going to see more of Lindor at short, and of course McCann catching. So, but the second base and the center field position, we're going to see different guys to create those combinations and see it as well. But yeah, we feel pretty good about it. Like I said, defense is one of our targets to improve in this spring. So those combinations we may be seeing it throughout the spring, different times with different guys playing in those two positions that I mentioned.
Good. Justin Walters, your line is open.
Hi, Luis. Later this month, fans will start to come into games. Does the possibility of managing this season at Citi Field as well as other ballparks with fans in the stadiums excite you?
Hey, Justin. It does. Today I was walking because as you guys know, we have one camp, and I know that walk is gonna get shorter with time, but I walked from this facility to the minor league to see some of the guys there in the clubhouse, and I missed the fan experience that we have in spring training. Every fan there that you stop and talk to, interact with, sign autographs, and watching the guys do it as well. So I thought of it, and I was like, man, a year ago we were interacting with fans here, so it's definitely exciting, to have your fan base, the guys that support you, they give you that energy in the stadium. So we're gonna start experiencing it here when games start, and they allowed that 20%, I believe, of the capacity here, and then by God, when we have it in spring training as well. So that'll be great for the guys to have him back and feel that support that they always feel from our fan base.
Good. Next up, Mark Roseman, your line is open.
Thank you, Harold. Hey, Luis. Two-part question. You mentioned the two different types of lineups, defense and offense. Looking at your outfield, will Nimo be able to get enough at bats if you need to go more defensive with Dom in left? And the second part is with the infield and the versatility. How much does the new wave of shifts in baseball impact the need for versatility in the infield to be able to play multiple infield positions?
Yeah, with the Nimo, he can play all three in the outfield. That always helps him. That experience for him playing all three is great. I know he spent more time in center last year, and then he was able to go to left at times when we did some changes later in the game. But even with Dom in left, like Nimo can be our center fielder with different lineups and different things. Dom is at first base, Nimo's in left, and we added another center field. There's ways of putting Nimo in different. His versatility in the outfield keeps him in the lineup. He's a great offensive player. He gets on base a lot. He can hit for power. He can have some speed. He can create situations. So, we're looking to keep him on. There's just I can't commit either way right now how it's going to happen exactly. We got to see how spring training goes and some of those combinations that are going to help us defensively and offensively in a balance in one lineup. But I see him playing there, and sometimes as well going to right, even though we know that Michael doesn't like days off. But getting maybe a chance to play right field as well. And then the second question of the shift, like it helps a lot. You have multiple guys that play shortstop now on the roster. Villar, Guillorme, and Lindor and Guillorme's play second, Villar's play second, Guillorme's play third. So moving around like that, it helps a lot. I mean, they're in different parts of the diamond there, and they can throw those angles. It's important to know all the angles of throwing and maybe how to turn a double play when you're in an awkward position or coming from an awkward angle to turn against your body. So it helps. It definitely helps so much. So I think with Gary DeSarcina at the helm, he's always paying attention to all those random situations that they may encounter. And all the versatility that we have in the infield, I think the guys are going to be just fine with that.
All right, time for a couple more. Mark Healy, your line is open.
Hey, Luis, you got a new catcher, and we got to speak with him yesterday, and a good catcher, as I asked him yesterday, is really the general on the field, and it's really important when that catcher is a part of what you do as a pitching staff in total. How much of a learning curve do you think that McCann will have, and are you confident that he's going to be a big contributor to the strength of the staff in whole?
Hey, Mark. So where do I start? Like he's already at a good distance with that. Like he was in touch with all our pitchers throughout the offseason. Ever since he became a Met, he's been nothing but a leader. And I got to see him for the first time yesterday, and the rest of the guys too. And it's almost like they've known him for a while, and he's done a great job as far as that. And every time we acquire a player, and it came out and it was official, like one of the first texts I got, it was him. Like, hey, can I get this pitcher's number? And he wanted to connect immediately, and that's his MO, and he's done a great job with that, just to be ahead of things. So that's why that timing you asked, like I think is it's moving. He's on the fast lane of that. So he's done a good job today. He was out there just being a leader, despite the distancing and all that. And it's pleasant. I'm excited. That we acquire him, and I think he's gonna help a lot of guys around him get better. And he's gonna be another great leader in our clubhouse, like other guys that we have.
Good. Last question from Rich Catino. Your line is open.
Thanks, Harold. Louis, good to see you.
one of the questions I have, you kind of alluded to it, the National League East being strong. And one of the things all those NL East teams have that you're competing against is strong left-handed bats in the middle of their lineup. Does that mean you're going to be trying to cultivate a second lefty in the bullpen during spring training? You certainly have options on the roster for that. And how important is having that second lefty, particularly in the games against the NL East?
Hey, Rich. Great seeing you too. It's always important to have lefties. We have a couple in camp, and we want to see, on the roster we got Tarpley and Zamora and Lou. We also have Blevins and Wendell. Blevins is a veteran. I mean, you guys all seen Blevins pitch too, so we're looking forward to see them. But it's always good to have your lefties, guys that also have the stuff to get the righty. Especially with the 3-batter rule you have. There are some strong lefties in our division, but a lot of them too are followed by a righty. If you talk about, you face a Harper and the Hoskins waiting on deck, and or Real Muto, and you face Freeman and you have an Ozuna waiting on deck, and so and so. So it's I think the guys that we have, they're also they have the ability to get the righty as well. They have the blend for it. But along with that, our right-handed pitchers too are pretty good against lefties, and they have stuff. So we still gotta see camp. You guys saw Aaron Loop last year. He pitched really good against both righties and lefties, and he was pitching under the new rule with a very good pitching team. That was the Rays in a tough division as well. And we're looking to see everybody. That's what we're looking forward to. And then hopefully they get similar situations in camp, even though that rule is not going to be in play until I think March 14th or something. I want to be more accurate with that next time probably. But the lefties are always important, like you said. We're just going to pay attention to that as they get out they get lefties out, and also as they get righties out.
Good. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. We will be in touch with the upcoming Zoom schedule. Moving ahead, Louis will do a daily Zoom in the early afternoon, and then we'll also indicate which players will be available via Zoom. Again, the first day that media will be allowed on site at the facility will be February 22nd. Please keep us posted of your plans if you hadn't to this point, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
Great seeing you guys. Take care.